Hi guys, I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford in the Pinpoint Forecast Center. Just wanted to get you a quick update on what's going on with Hurricane Irma. We've gotten the latest information in on Irma from the National Hurricane Center. This is the 10 a.m. advisory information. Notice that the winds are a strong 180 miles per hour right now. It has increased as far as the maximum sustained wind speeds go. It is moving west at 14 miles per hour, 931 millibars. And notice that it is about 200 or more miles still just to the east of Antigua. So notice that the location, by the way, some of you asked for latitude and longitude, 16.8 degrees north, 58.4 degrees west. So this is the very latest on Irma coming in with the 10 a.m. advisory. It is even stronger than it was this morning. To be a Cat 5, which it is now, you have to have 157 mile per hour winds. This now has 180 mile per hour winds. So it has increased. It is a healthy looking storm as it nears those islands, which are of course under hurricane warnings at this point, as they are gearing for this storm to begin bearing down on them today and then especially tonight. So unfortunately, these islands are going to be directly affected, it looks like, by Irma. Again, within the next maybe 18 to 20 hours or so, beginning or less than that, kind of on the outskirts of the system. As you can see, this is the kind of forecast for Irma over the next few days. It is forecast to continue a strong hurricane, a Category 5, winds perhaps even tonight at 180 miles per hour, then maybe a little weakening as it gets closer to some of these islands, unfortunately, like Puerto Rico by Wednesday evening. Winds may back off a bit, but it would still be potentially a Category 5, even as it nears or moves just north, perhaps, of Puerto Rico and the island of Hispaniola Wednesday and then on Thursday. So notice that by Friday, it may have decreased a little bit in strength. That's what the National Hurricane Center is calling for at this point. And then notice that now the forecast path does include that little turn to the northwest that we've been talking about. So we've kind of been saying the models have been in pretty good consensus, bringing this toward Florida and then turning it to the north. Of course, here in the Gulf Coast area where we are in New Orleans, all eyes are on that turn. I understand that's what everybody wants to know. Is that turn going to happen, and when and where? Well, notice that the official forecast path now is beginning to include that little bit of a movement, a little bit of a shift off to the north and northwest, and that would be coming at the sort of end of this period through the weekend. So this is Sunday morning's position from the National Hurricane Center's latest forecast. It would have potentially about 145 mile per hour winds at that point. That would put it at Category 4 status. So here are those computer model plots that we have kept showing you over and over. Now, these are not set in stone. Of course they aren't. We are still several days out from it getting close to Florida at this point. It looks like even this weekend, that will be the beginning of the impacts for Florida, Saturday and Sunday. So even, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, Florida does actually have time to prepare for this hurricane coming its way, a few days, in fact. Notice that as I kind of zoom in here on the model plots, as it takes the turn to the north, notice that they're kind of showing it, and they have been showing it anywhere from the eastern Gulf to over Florida to the western Atlantic. So these are all areas where it could potentially turn to the north. And we have been talking also about the fact that this is why it may turn to the north. Notice that here is the storm. As you can see, it is right here over the Bahamas kind of area. And then as we look at sorry guys, understanding the graphics are not corresponding there. So then as we look at what will be happening by that point, notice that there are also these areas around Florida, the southern tip of Florida, that may be looking at the storm. So this would be by Sunday morning. Notice that there is that trough of low pressure, but that one may actually be working off to the northeast by that point. And then notice that there may be another little area of low pressure that may kind of continue to draw it farther to the north. So this is the GFS upper air winds at this point. And then over here on the western fringe, notice that there could be a ridge of high pressure around which this low pressure area would come. So I'm sorry, guys, did not show you that. Didn't realize our graphics were we're kind of paused there. These are the latest stats on Hurricane Irma. Notice this is what the storm looks like right now. Again, giving you another look at the wind speeds and so forth. It is now at 180 miles per hour, moving west at 14 miles per hour, and the pressure is at 931 millibars. So again, this is the forecast path that I was talking about a second ago. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulty there. Notice that by Friday morning, this is where it may be potentially becoming a somewhat weaker storm at maybe a Category 4 by then. And then again, there is that shift to the northwest, which again, I'm sorry, I assumed you guys could see this, and I'm seeing now that you weren't able to see it earlier. So I apologize for that. As you look at Sunday morning, notice this is kind of the potential path. And of course, this is the area of uncertainty, the cone of uncertainty. So the National Hurricane Center kind of showing where it could potentially be a little farther to the east and could potentially perhaps be a little farther to the west. So we will have to watch this, of course. Again, we've been watching these models, our computer models, and they are again showing that path anywhere from the eastern Gulf into the western Atlantic. So we are expecting a turn at this point. As we look at that upper level pattern, that's kind of what we've been showing you. Again, it looks like we will have that low pressure area. That's what will be bringing us the cold front. Notice that it is the storm is there. You see it over the Bahamas. This is on Friday morning, and it is kind of continuing west because of that red patch on the right-hand side of your screen. That's the ridge of high pressure, diverting it off to the west. And then notice that that kind of trough of low pressure with the front may kind of move off to the east, perhaps, maybe has enough to draw it to the north, and then it looks like another little trough could potentially draw it north even more heading into Monday and Tuesday of next week, potentially. So this is kind of the pattern that we're looking at for the weekend and early next week. I wanted to get you guys also updated on what else we are seeing out in the tropics. We do also have an area that we're watching in the Gulf of Mexico, and this one does have a, it looks like a high chance of development at this point. I'm trying to update my graphic here to get you the very latest from the National Hurricane Center as we're kind of checking in and getting information from there. A 70% chance of formation is what they have right now for that area in the Bay of Campeche. So if it does become a tropical storm or tropical depression, again, as we've been saying, the good thing is that we will have that front that will keep it to the southwest. So it's really not expected to meander or wander farther from this kind of general area in the southern Gulf of Mexico. And then we have another spot way out in the Atlantic. This one we're also watching, and actually this one is now Tropical Storm Jose. So we actually have a new tropical storm, which I will get the graphics updated for you guys in just a second. Again, this is the latest 10 a.m. advisory, and it looks like they have named this area that we've been watching Tropical Storm Jose. So this one has been named at this point. Coming up in a few minutes, we will be back and we'll kind of get you the latest on what else we're seeing. Notice that as I show you quickly, this model, this is our GFS model showing vorticity, which is kind of the energy and spin you might see with these storms. Notice that Irma is on the left-hand side and Jose is off on the right-hand side in these two circles. There's the turn to the north from this particular model, the GFS model. For Irma, and then notice that there's also a slight turn to the north for Jose. So it looks like potentially by early next week, Jose might be trying to move to the north, and we'll have to continue to track it to kind of see if that curve continues kind of a little farther out to the north. So again, the latest on this 10 a.m. advisory, and sorry about those graphics earlier, guys. Hurricane Irma now with winds of 180 miles per hour if you're just joining us, moving west and really bearing down now on some of these Caribbean islands, which it will probably be impacting later today, tonight, and tomorrow. So if you're in the New Orleans area and kind of wondering what to expect, I would say first just keep up with the forecasts. Never hurts to have a plan in place, of course. Dave Nussbaum has been telling you all morning. Chris and I were over the weekend, and Carl will be in soon. We're trying to get you updated as soon as we get information in. And so we will be having more coming, of course, in the next few days. But for now, in the New Orleans area, we are still expecting a turn to the north. We will still have to watch it, of course. It's several several days out, and we will be tracking it closely. And so that's what I would say right now. So just kind of hang tight, stay safe in the New Orleans area, have a plan. Never hurts to have a plan during hurricane season, of course, just in case. And really just kind of keep watching at this point for our part of the Gulf Coast. We're expecting the turn to happen somewhere near Florida, and so it will be a matter of kind of nailing down exactly where and when that turn will happen. And so I know all eyes will be on that turn as we head into the next few days, and we'll be getting you the latest on that. So that'll do it for now, guys. We'll leave you with this, the latest information from the National Hurricane Center, and we'll have more updates coming up on Eyewitness News at noon, and also at our next advisory time, 1 and then 4 and 7. So we'll be kind of keeping you updated as those updates come in from the National Hurricane Center. That'll do it for now, guys. Take care.